limit. The truth is on our side. There's no time for worry. Let's show the world our pride. Whether another comes up with a surprise, we all will discover where our fate will lie. On a blue wave, we rise to save the day. Only me, only you can let our hearts sail away on a blue wave.
Welcome to episode 40. Can you believe it, Anita?
No, I cannot believe it.
Episode 40.
It feels like episode 400.
It does. It really does. It's been a year and a half. Welcome to our good friends, Andrea B. and Mark P. A little bit about you both. So Mark P. moderates for Hal Sparks Mega Worldwide, of course, and also Blunt Politics with Boston Bryan, 21st Century Suffragettes, and Mary Trump Media Nerd Avengers. And then we have Andrea B., who, Anita, you and I have had a lot of contact with and getting booked on Hal Sparks. And she moderates for and guest coordinates, as we know, for Hal Sparks, and moderates for PVN and communications manager and moderator for Texas Paul, one of our favorite talking heads on the YouTube.
Boston Bryan too. I love Boston Bryan.
Yep. So we're big fans of all of the people that you guys are in touch with, and of course, Mary Trump. So if you guys want to go ahead and, just kind of talk about where you guys are from, how you kind of got into all of this, and then we can.
We'll do ladies first. Go ahead, Andrea.
Okay, thank you, Mark. I'm from Florida. In Central Florida. So that's already
I was going to say, I'm sorry.
There. Thank you. I mean, there are a few blue here, but for the most part, red.
Crazy.
So much so.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous lately. And I got started, actually, it's weird. I got started being in house chat as a sparkler. And I'll explain what a sparkler is. A sparkler is a group of people that love and listen to Hal Sparks. And I was one of those sparklers, and about 5 years ago, Hal didn't have any mods except for one, and he's our boss mod, and his name is CSL. You'll hear Hal talk about him a lot because he does a lot for the show.
CSL short for Can't Stop Lying, by the way.
Yes.
Is that right?
Yes.
I like it.
And so there was a need for I was posting, things in links, even though I couldn't do the links in the show. And because we were getting so many trolls in the show, this sparklers actually said to Hal, we need somebody in here. And I reached out to CSL, and he said, sure, let me see what I can do. And he talked to Hal, and Hal saw the chat and saw how many people were saying we need somebody in here. And that's how I got started. The guest coordinating was Hal said he needed some people to be on the show. I did it. I said, I'll do it. I'll do it as a trial run. And it kind of like stuck. So I kind of get, and when I need somebody to come on, I'll reach out to them, see if they'll come on. And hopefully they can. If they can't, juggling schedules is always fun.
With time differences. Yeah.
The time differences. And, I've gotten some people that are comedians on or entertainers on for Hal. Working around their schedule is a lot more difficult than what people think. I have a lot of the sparklers that say, get this person on, get this person on. Easier said than done. I will get them on, but it's just going to take time. But working for Hal is a joy, and he is fun. He's very smart,
Mm-hmm.
and he gets into people's head thinking about things, and that is very evident in the chats. The sparklers are very smart. They are we're like a community, a family, especially during COVID.
Yes.
Which is basically how Hal got started, was just before COVID hit. And we all banded together more like a family. And I think even more than Hal realized
Mm-hmm.
until after COVID, when he started realizing, wow, I've got something here and
Yeah.
it's special.
Mm-hmm.
And the sparklers, a lot of podcasts know us because a lot of the sparklers are in different podcasts, and they listen to a lot of different shows, including yours. And they are very vocal about some things when things are being said.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what we need, is the vocality of people.
Yes.
And then for Texas Paul, I do him on Sundays, Wednesdays, and Fridays, moderating for him. And Texas Paul is very vocal and very, he interacts a lot with his chat, because you need to interact with people of like minds to maybe they've got something better that they can present to you on a level, because they're sitting back, they're not in the thick of it.
Mm-hmm.
And that, for me, for being in a chat is the most important, because we're the people that are sitting here living in it. We're the ones that are.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think it does touch on, before we go to Mark, it does touch on, that the idea that, and I heard a couple of young Democratic strategists that worked on the Harris-Walz campaign saying specifically that one of the things that Democrats need to do better at is going to where their constituents are having the conversations. Go in,
Exactly.
and send some staffers into those chats and like really just listen, because they've talked about, as crazy as they're eating the dogs, they're eating the cats was to all of us listening. We're like, what the heck are they talking about? That was
Not for me. I heard it all over. It was all over
right. No,
Twitter.
no.
But for the
I
people
know.
who weren't
No,
paying
but
attention.
the point being is that where they were having those conversations,
Yeah, I know.
they went there, they heard those conversations, and then they just validated it for all of, you know what I mean? So there's that.
Exactly.
Yeah. So anyway, so Mark, if you would like to tell us a little bit about you and how you got into all of this.
Well, thanks, Karen, for inviting both Andrea and me today. Much like Andrea, well, first of all, I currently live in Alexandria, Virginia, outside of DC, but for not much longer, I'm in the process of packing up my stuff and moving out west to Central Valley of California, which is the fourth largest economy in the world. So,
yes, it is.
Like Andrea was touching on earlier, I really got looped into this during 2020, the middle of that freaking COVID lockdown. I can curse, or I can say fucking
absolutely.
fucking COVID lockdown.
Yes, you can.
We're all cocooned and isolated in our homes. There's no there's social distancing. I tend to be an introvert by nature, but still there's no human interaction. My daughter was forced to learn from a computer like this. Teachers are not trained to teach in this manner, nor are children capable of actually sitting still for 5, 6 hours straight looking at a computer. But one of the few gathering places to socialize was Hal's chat. That was a place for us to kind of commiserate and reach out to other fellow like-minded people like ourselves, who are fighting for democracy, and just sitting back and witnessing just the madness of Trump. We survived the first 3 years, but I don't know, as fate would have it, that fourth year, COVID came in, and the man was not capable of rising to the occasion or stepping up. His easiest path to re-election would have been taking on that virus head on and protecting
Well, it
lives,
was a
saving
great
lives.
opportunity for him.
Yes.
But yeah.
He's just not capable of doing it, though. It wasn't in him to do that. It would.
He doesn't
But-
take direction. And I mean, he doesn't believe in, expertise, only he alone can
Right.
fix it. And that is the
Exactly.
hubris. It's absolutely the hubris that got us into the mess in the first place, right?
And
But the
we're
truth
seeing the
is-
effects of it right now.
Yes.
But the truth is, COVID was actually ended up being a great thing for him because the economy was already going sour. We were already losing manufacturing jobs because of his tariffs. Everything was going downhill. And COVID hit, and all of that got blamed on COVID. And
Right.
nobody blamed him for mishandling it.
COVID happened to him instead of
Right.
He allowed
so
it
it
in.
ended up, yes, it ended up actually helping him. That's why they, people were, right, people were just so traumatized from COVID at the time. And that's why I think he lost the election, because when the more people hear and see Donald Trump, the less they like him, right? And we were
Those daily
seeing and hearing a
briefings.
lot of him. But when he was kind of out of the picture, the limelight for those 4 years, people stopped thinking about it, and they started thinking about, hey, remember that great economy? The economy that he inherited from Obama?
exactly. The thing is
Right.
that people memory hold just the dumpster fire, the shitstorm that Trump left behind for Biden to pick up.
Right.
And that work to bring this country back onto its feet and have the best post-lockdown recovery of any of the developed nations and
Right.
that
Yeah.
stuff was it was nowhere to be
Sure.
reported or
No.
shared on a daily. That should have been something that hammered daily by
That should have been
campaign.
the starting point of every conversation or broadcast about the accomplishments of Biden and Harris, right?
Well-
That should have been like, yeah, remember, this is what they inherited, and look at all this stuff that he's did. But the media, of course, didn't do that at all.
Of course not.
Well, the problem was,
and the lack of sorry, Anita, and
No,
the lack of
go ahead.
empathy as well.
Hmm.
Yeah.
There was no empathy for those millions of people that died
Right.
and their families
No,
that had to
no.
go through that.
Right.
and the problem was, it was all kind of defined by inflation, because that's what, when people talk about the economy, they're talking about the economy they feel.
Right.
And what they felt was the prices were going up.
Everything was
What we
expensive.
should have hammered home every day was, this is a global inflation as a result of the supply chain issues. We're going to, and Biden should have been out there every day talking about how he was getting that under control.
Hmm.
Trump does it, and he's lying.
Right.
Well,
Trump is
a lot of it is during COVID. It was and people forget this. It was a global event.
Yes.
So everything
Costs
stopped.
were high for
That's
not
what-
only
that's
people
right.
in the United States, but every freaking country.
That's why it was global, the inflation. And guess who got that
Yep.
inflation under control better than any other country in the world?
We
United
did.
States of America under
Under
Joe Biden.
Yep.
Right, exactly.
Exactly.
And of course, and I'm in real estate, and we were all screaming about the fact that Jerome Powell was addressing the inflation as though it was domestic inflation. And so
Yeah.
they were raising the interest rates, right? And in reality, it was global inflation, but he was treating it as though it was domestic inflation. Because that's what
the playbook.
right, exactly. Yep.
Yeah. And this
And
was
that
something
hurt.
new.
Yes, and I think that hurt as well. That was just one more thing that people could point to.
Mm-hmm.
It's just so
Right.
maddening.
It was just,
Yes.
it was really just a bunch of different things, factors involved. But I do think that the problem was Biden, as good as he was at being president, he just wasn't that great a messenger.
Right.
Well, I
And-
can attest. I know what
Go
it's
ahead.
like to not be the greatest salesperson for yourself, and
Right.
I think
But-
that
And Trump is a great salesman, but he's a con man.
he's a car salesman.
Yeah.
Is what he
Yeah,
is.
Right,
he's a car
exactly.
salesman.
Used car
He's a
salesman, yeah.
timeshare salesman.
Mhm.
I liken him to those old back in the day, like 1800s. Those medicine men that would come around
Yep.
with their wagons and stuff like that. That's what Trump is.
Snake oil salesman.
There you
Right.
go.
Exactly.
Yeah. Do you
Yeah.
remember during the first go around, somebody released that it was like an old timey episode of some old show, and they talk about this guy named Trump.
And Trump.
And
It was
he's a
Alyssa
snake
Milano.
oil salesman. I can't remember
Alyssa
exactly.
Milano.
What was that?
Alyssa Milano released that.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. It was from a movie.
Yes, it was from.
And it exactly how he is.
And the villain was Trump. Not Donald Trump.
Trump.
It was Trump.
Yeah.
Yeah. And he
Yeah.
was conning all the people of this little town.
Yep.
And in the end, of course, he loses and goes to prison, but
Oh,
unfortunately that didn't happen.
we
Fiction
can
didn't
hope.
match reality.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Oh well.
Well,
There's still time, right?
I don't know if he's going to even make it these 4 years, the way he's looking.
No, he won't. He won't. He's looking worse every day.
Yeah, he looks like crap. And he's not even doing his makeup, and it was bad before.
The voice. Just listen to his voice. It's an old man, an
Yeah.
aging
Yeah.
old man.
And he's,
Yeah.
well, everybody talks about his cognitive decline. And the problem the media has, and the reason why they never, say, we can see he's having cognitive decline is because he's always been cognitively declining.
Right.
There's always been something wrong. That's why he took the cognitive test, because people were questioning his cognitive abilities.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't just come up. He's
No.
a friggin' moron.
Yeah.
He's
Well,
always been.
that's what happens when you have somebody else do your schoolwork and you don't take it seriously, and
Mhm.
that's how you end up. You don't learn.
Total ignorant.
So here we have
Yes.
a freaking moron, and this time around he doesn't have, people that are, tested in the positions around him. Right now he has a bunch of morons.
Wow.
No one
in-
is qualified.
Yeah, nobody
Yeah.
is qualified for any of the positions that they are filling, including, the counterterrorism expert from
He's
the Piggly
qualified.
Wiggly.
He's qualified as a stock boy.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, he keeps, and you got to remember, when he said every third word that comes out of Donald Trump's mouth, if you put it together, there's truth in it. So if he says, I love the poorly uneducated, he's referring to himself and the people around him,
Mm-hmm.
because
Yeah.
they're uneducated.
And he's He's poorly educated.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Well, and everything he says is just, he's talking about himself. It's all projection.
Right.
100%.
Right.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And so, but before we move on, because I do want to talk about now, here we are, and here we have Donald Trump, 2.0, and the band of morons and very dangerous people around him. But what I really, what you guys were talking about too during the first time around, was just the community. And that is, and kind of tying that now. So we needed each other then. We didn't, we were isolated, but we found a way not to isolate, to come together in community. And so, with the sparklers, how important that was for that time. I know that we started Zoom meetings. It seemed like we were doing them every couple of days.
Right.
With Stephanie Miller's fans as well coming together, and we had, Jill Wine-Banks on, and we in the beginning, and we had we tried to get people from the show and from kind of the Stephverse to come in and, visit with all of us. And it really was such an important thing. And I think now here we are again, with everything that's going on, and every expert, that warns how to behave when authoritarianism takes hold, right? What you need to do is not isolate, come together in community, protect one another. And so here we are again in Trump 2.0 having to do exactly that. But And then also in Trump 2.0, now we don't have any experts. So when something like the floods in Texas, and Anita, you can speak to this probably better than any of us, about what the shit show that they're going through right now.
Well, the problem was the people that were in charge of responding to these kind of disasters. There's a guy who had 32 years experience, and he was forced to retire early because of Doge cuts.
Mm-hmm.
There were six key positions that dealt with communicating, and that was one of the big problems. There was when the federal government sent out a warning saying, "Oh, there's going to be flooding here," and I can't remember what time that was. It was late
Just
on Thursday,
Mm-hmm.
and then the person that would have sent that message out to the rest of the local officials so they could warn people in that area. It was hours between that time. Nobody knew what they were doing.
Right.
Anita, I understand that whole area, it didn't have, especially the girls' camp that was at Mystic.
Mystic,
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
Mystic.
They don't have self-service there.
Well, they don't. Yeah, they don't have cell service, but there should have been sirens. There's a town right by there, Comfort, which is also on the Guadalupe River, and it has had a disaster like that in 1987. But what they did was they put sirens on the riverbed. There every I don't remember how many sirens there are, but there's a number of sirens there. Those sirens went off, and nobody died.
Okay.
Right.
So there was a similar disaster before in that area, and they were able to save lives.
Yes,
Okay.
there was in 1987, kind of the same thing. A bunch of campers in a bus drowned trying to cross over there, and the bus was swept away. But there's just so many. It was such a preventable. They could have prevented so many deaths there. There's already been like 100, almost 100, I think 120, 119 people dead.
I'm sure
And
there'll be more.
163 missing.
Right.
That number's going to rise.
So
Right.
you're talking about almost 300 people.
Right.
Well, that's just
They
like
had no warning, no chance. And it happened
there's
in
a
the middle of the
chance.
night, correct? It was in the middle of the
It was
night?
in the middle of the night. There was a warning, I think, from the locals. They sent out something at 1 o'clock,
1 a.m.
and then at 3 o'clock, and then it was too late.
They were
Yeah.
sleeping. People were sleeping.
People were
Exactly.
sleeping.
And then they talk about how, we put it out on Facebook. Like
Yeah,
there
they posted it on social media.
People aren't going to be dialed into that.
Well, the
No.
kids didn't even have Wi-Fi there.
right.
Exactly. No cell service.
Well, that's
But
just like a week ago or more. Maybe it's been a couple of weeks now. That not a lot of people heard about this either. Springfield, Missouri got hit really hard
Tornadoes.
with a tornado.
Mm-hmm.
And my friend that lives in Springfield said there was no warning. There were
Yep.
no alarms.
Yeah.
He's lived
Yeah,
there all of
Kentucky
his
too.
life. He's lived there all of his life. And he has always grown up with the sirens going. He goes, there was nothing.
Yeah.
Nothing. And
Yep.
a lot of people lost a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
It's all these Republican states, and let me
Yeah.
tell you something. That county had applied for grants for emergency response. Things like
what is it?
those
Kerr
sirens I was
County.
talking about.
Kerr County.
Kerr County.
Yeah, Kerr County, and they were denied by the state of Texas because
Denied.
that was just going to be not a top priority.
But
It was
yet,
wasteful spending.
where is Cruz?
Craig
overseas.
Abbott.
Yep.
Oh, he was in Greece.
Yeah.
Yeah, trying to catch a flight in a few days.
Sure. After his visit to the Parthenon.
Yeah, after the Parthenon.
Mm-hmm.
Just like he went to Cancun the last time.
Yeah.
So-
and
During the
so
winter, yep.
yeah. So now we just cited two events, and that doesn't even touch on Alabama right. They had
Kentucky,
North Carolina.
Yep. Exactly.
Arizona,
Mm-hmm.
New Mexico.
Yeah, and so this is going to be, and hurricane season is a month away, right?
I
Yeah,
fear
Andrew
for
would
us
know
here in
best.
Florida.
Yeah, you're
I
in
feel-
Florida. What the
I fear
hell?
for us. I have been since November. As soon as he got elected, I'm like, nope, this is what's going to happen. Do. And I have been all of this time making sure I've got a bunch of water, make sure the flashlights.
Oh,
I
yeah.
even bought
Generator.
candles. Stuff I would normally get just before hurricane season. I ramped it up 6 months early.
Yeah.
Oh, we all should be
Because-
prepared. We should all have our hazmat suits ready because who knows what new disease is going to be coming down the track.
Right. Right.
We got
Exactly.
Bobby Kennedy,
Yeah. It's
now in charge of HHS. So
I mean, we didn't see COVID coming. I mean, there was always like kind of a speculation, like, oh my God forbid, a virus, comes along because like Bill Gates had been talking about it, right?
Right.
These super,
Bill
and
Gates
then
is the one who
did
developed
he do it?
Yeah,
he did.
Well,
He's
how
manipulating the weather too, right?
No,
Well,
that's the Jewish space lasers.
Okay.
How was in China just before
Yeah, he was working on a movie
COVID
project,
hit?
right?
Right, he was working
Yeah,
on
I
a movie
remember him
project.
talking about it. Yeah.
And he saw things that were shifting and changing in China. So he was already seeing, okay, something's going on here.
Mm-hmm.
When he got here back to America after that project, then stuff started happening here.
Mhm.
So he was seeing it in real time in China when COVID hit, or just before COVID hit. So he was seeing stuff that we didn't see.
Yeah.
Well, and China was hiding it, and then Donald Trump, of course, was just like, "Oh no, China's got it under control. Nothing to worry, nothing to see here."
He was sending them that PPP stuff, right?
That's who he sent. That no, he sent that to Putin.
Didn't he send China some also?
Oh, he probably yes.
I
you're
think
right.
yes.
He
Yes,
did.
he did.
He did. He sent
Yes, he
China
did.
PPE,
Yeah,
and
that's right.
he sent the Russians. Even though the Russians had their own vaccine, he sent them vaccines.
Yes.
And he sent Putin a testing when nobody else could get it here in the United States.
Yep.
And the guy's just such a fucking traitor.
So when the COVID actually hit the United States, PPE, I'm sorry, that stuff wasn't available for us.
No.
Right.
No, it wasn't available for us, but he was going to make sure Putin and Gigi were taken care of.
Right. Well, and I remember here in Illinois, and we ordered a bunch of PPE for the, for the hospital workers, and it was confiscated by FEMA, by Jared Kushner and FEMA, and then we had to buy it back.
Yeah.
And the Maryland governor, he had to get us a connection from Korea, remember? To get PPE from there. Well, what a shit show. How can people have elected
How could
this guy
people
again?
forget that? And then, January 6th, I mean, it's
Mind-boggling.
It's
It is.
mind-boggling.
I think a lot of it, and don't get me wrong, I love being a Dem. I was a Republican from the time I was 18 until I was 30. I have been a Dem since then.
Mm-hmm.
And our messaging is not the best. Not that we're not trying to be messengers. We are.
It's not the messaging. Look,
We're not being strong enough in that messaging.
okay, but the problem is this. There are these people that have always existed in the world, okay? And here in the United States, especially because we are supposedly a melting pot. We have people coming from all over the country. We're a land of immigrants. And there are people in this country that feel like they're losing something, okay? They're being usurped by women, by minorities, by LGBTQ people. That it doesn't matter what our policies are, it doesn't matter what our messaging is. They obviously don't care because look at who they elected, Donald Trump, because he promises to hurt the people they want put down, put in their place, so that they can once again feel like the center of the universe in this country.
Yes,
Right.
that thought if something is lost, if someone else, it's not gained. If they're actually elevated up to have the same rights and opportunities.
They think equality is oppression to them. Equality is oppression.
And then, of course, we all know Fox News. They've got a 24/7 propaganda network. And now they've got state TV. And then we have mainstream media that is
Not on our side.
Not on our side, has
No.
never been liberal,
Yep.
So, I feel like Democrats have always been, there have been Democrats out there messaging and, being able to articulate things. But, even look at President Obama, he was so effective because he would go on, with Zach Galifianakis and do, Between Two Ferns. And, he looked
And
for,
the girl that ate cinnamon. What's her name?
what was that?
That one girl, the little black girl that she ate cinnamon. She had a podcast, and one of the first, and he went on that show, and he got a lot of shit for that. Now look at these guys.
Right. But, so I think that's what it is. The mainstream media has completely failed to do anything because they have to both sides the shit out of everything and try and paint with a broad brush and, paint the Democrats, equal to the Republicans, and and deferring to Republicans. Nothing is legit unless a Republican is saying it. Right.
But look, things are changing. We've seen it. And look at the people who have been, booted off of a mainstream media like CNN and MSNBC. Joy Reid, Kate, what's her name?
Katie
what's her name?
Fang. Yep.
Yes. Who else? Acosta.
Jim Acosta, yeah. I
Don
think
Lemon.
they're enjoying those alternate platforms because they can truly speak their minds. I mean,
That's exactly right.
I mean, they're going as far as you're hearing these people curse when you're not used to hearing them.
Yeah, I know, it's kind of funny, and they're telling us how they really feel.
Right.
Yep.
Right.
Don Lemon's been fantastic.
Yep.
Yeah.
But on CNN he was restrained. He could only say so much, and they'll tell you how they were told don't piss these people off on the right because CNN is owned by MAGA.
Mm-hmm.
But going back to what Andrea said about the messaging, I think a lot of that issue, especially with the Democrats, is there's such a diversity of interest and just diversity of people. That's you look at the opposite side, MAGA, right wing, whatever you want to call them. It's so much simpler for them to line up and get behind one.
Very monolithic. They don't have to.
One policy and Democrats are everybody else.
Yes, exactly.
A lot of, I think Bob Seska maybe even referenced it in recent week. The single issue voters. If I don't get what I want,
right,
I ain't voting for Kamala. I ain't voting for Biden.
Palestine, Gaza, whatever.
I'll sit it out. I'll vote down ballot for my Democratic candidate, but screw.
Well, that's just like I have a 97-year-old woman that I take care of. She is a very staunch Republican. She's 97 years old, so she's seen a lot in the world, in the United States.
And she's still a Republican?
And she's still a Republican.
Sorry.
And we have good conversations. It's not always what she wants to hear, but she listens. And her family, the rest of her family, her son and her are the only ones that are Republican in her family. The rest are all Democrats. And they told her this last time, you vote for Trump, we will not talk to you.
Wow.
She did not vote. She told me, she goes, for the first time ever in my adult life, I'm not voting because I'm not losing my family. And I said to her, so had they not said that to you, would you have voted for him? And she says, yes. And I'm like, that should tell you something and speak volumes to you. I said, you're 97 years old. Your mom was 106 before she passed. Be thankful that you have family. I said,
and
because
Social Security
he's taking
and Medicare. And all these other
and
things
he's
she has because of
taking everything away. She sees it now because she's 97 and she's on Medicare. And she paid into it. She was like Karen. She was in real estate. She sees, but she still believes in him. And I don't get
like
that.
I said, it's not about policy. That's what I'm trying to say. These people will die. They will lose everything, and they will continue to side with the party that's going to put down the people that they feel threatened by.
That's right. I mean, I totally agree. I think it's not the cost of eggs. It wasn't the cost of groceries. It wasn't any of that stuff,
None of that is,
Yeah,
nope.
there might have been a sliver of people that, kind of they tell themselves that, but if they really dug deep inside, they would find that, maybe they're just a little bit, susceptible to the racist dog whistles and all the rest of it. And I mean, we've talked about it, Anita and I have talked about it, even, like white liberals, they've got their we've all been conditioned. It really does take a lot of effort and conscious effort and kind of reflection to
unselfishness. You have to think about other people.
Right.
Yeah.
But what we have to do, instead of try to convince these kind of people, we have to send the message. What we can actually do for the United States, what it would actually look like if we were able to change things. How much better this country could be, and we have to give them concrete examples of it. We kind of increase the Social Security because people love Social Security. We're going to increase your Medicare. People love their Medicare. We're going to have a living wage. We're going to have a child care. Universal child care, universal health care. That's one of the biggest things. The majority of Americans will support that. But we have to get that message out and get people excited about voting for Democrats. The people who are not voting because they say shit like, oh, they're both the same. Neither one of them are doing anything for me.
Right. And yet we had 4 days of great Democratic messaging, with the DNC. And it's, and Anita, all of those things that you just listed, that was messaged.
And I know, but it has to be hammered home.
And that's the same exact stuff that we see in the chats every day. We see people in our chat saying that, don't we, Mark? That exact thing.
Absolutely.
Why should we vote?
That's right. Why should we vote? They're both the same.
Why should we vote?
Doing it,
or
changing
they're
my
the same.
life.
We see that an awful lot in the chats.
Yep, that's what I'm saying. And
so then it has to be that you have to do it besides the DNC, because all that, and every time Kamala Harris spoke, she spoke about that. She spoke about $25,000 for first-time home buyers. She spoke about $50,000 for entrepreneurs. But so what is the suggestion then? It has to be
more
weekly.
Than that. That kind of stuff, first of all, sounds like, oh, sure, you're going to have us $25,000. Talk about, but she had to continue. First of all, she only had 100 days.
Right.
So there wasn't really a lot of time to get that message across to enough people. We have to just constantly, as Democrats, hammer that message. That's what Democrats want to do for you, and tell the stories about how we can make your life better, what we can do for you, how we can make it easier for you to afford a house, how we can make, how guess what? When you get in, if you have health insurance, that part of your pay is not going to have to, you're not going to have to pay $500 a month out of your paycheck for your health insurance. So that's going to increase the money that you bring home. I mean, actual results. We have to show them actual examples of what we can do for them. And then also target some of the Trump, and I always say this, the Trump voters. Because those are the only people that I think we can reach. As far as like the Trump voters, the what do they call them? The triple Trump voters. Those guys are lost.
They're gone.
Yeah, you can't reach them.
Yeah, ultra mega.
And that's also where the chats come in, because the only way that will get you banned out of house chat is if you spew LGBTQ hate, or you're just nasty to the other people in the chat, or you're downright Trumping and you're showing your Trump.
Or misinformation.
Misinformation.
Let me ask you something, Andrea and Mark. I'm going to ask
a lot of it. Hang on 1 second. A lot of it is in the chat. I tell the trolls that come in, they're called trolls. I tell the trolls, stay, listen to what's being said. It may change you, it may not change you, but stay and listen and learn.
and they at least will have heard it.
Right,
That's what I wanted to ask
exactly.
you about. So you guys, you were just saying that you hear people say, "What difference does it make who I vote for?" That's one of the things
Yes.
you hear, right?
Yes.
What are the other things that you hear? And I'm not talking about the stuff like anti-LGBTQ, the nasty stuff, but what are the kind of things do you think are important for Democrats to understand? I mean, people that are running for office or people,
It's not
politicians.
so much that they don't understand because we have pretty good people in our chats.
Some
A
pretty
lot
smart
of it
people.
is
Yeah.
they're frustrated, very frustrated with, especially when all the stuff came out with Doge. They're very frustrated with the fact that we did everything right, but yet he's here again. That's a lot. A lot of it is fear. I see a lot of that in multiple chats. There's a lot of fear. So what's going to happen? If we get, this is happening now with the big beautiful bill thing.
Right.
A lot of them are fearful because they've worked very hard, and a lot of our viewers, some of them are older, and some of them have ailments, and they can't go back to work.
Yes.
And in this big beautiful bill, if you want to be on Medicaid or you want to be on Medicare, according to this big beautiful bill, that you have to work. A lot of our older people cannot work. And then you have to prove every month that you can't work.
Right.
Come
It's
on.
just another loophole. I mean, another thing hoop to jump through. Most of the people that are on Medicaid that they call able-bodied are people who are like taking care of somebody who with, like who's totally
Disabled children.
Are like they're over 50. Most of them are over 50 and they have some sort of disease where they can't work, but they're not old enough to qualify for Medicare. And by the way, if you're over 50, especially if you're over 55 or 60, it's very hard to find a job where you're going to have health care benefits.
Exactly. Yeah. So that's a lot of what we see in the chats. A lot of what we see in the chats too are people being able to voice their opinion. And that's what I love about Jasmine Crockett. She does a lot of social media. She has a lot of people in her chat. She actually will sit there and answer what they say. Hey, I'm coming on for a minute, and you've got all these hundreds of people that are in her chat. And she answers some of their questions.
Yeah. AOC is really good at that as well.
Yes. Yes.
I wonder if I could get Jasmine Crockett on, Karen. She's from Texas, maybe.
Yeah, well.
And that's what we need, getting back to listening to the people, listening to your constituents, listening to, Eric Swalwell does that too. Yeah. Now he gets on there and he'll do that. And what's so wonderful about Don Lemon and Joy Reid and Jim Acosta
Katie
and Katie Fang all are doing this on Substack, and they're interacting with people.
Yes.
Oh, I know.
Why can't more of our senators do that?
Right.
You want a basis for what your constituents want? Go in a chat.
That's what Karen was saying.
Yeah.
If you want to know what the base is thinking, instead of just like a lot of times, like for instance, this thing of Mandani. I always say his name wrong. Mandani. We see the establishment pushing again. Back. They're trying to separate themselves from him, and there's a lot of
mistake.
It's a big mistake, and the base is with him. Because we're listening to what he's saying and the policies that he's talking about, the vision that he has excites Democrats. And that's what we want to hear from other Democrats. Maybe they should take a cue from that.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
And not only that, some of the sparklers, I don't know if Mark sees this in the other chats that he mods for, but a lot of them will pass on that messaging that they've heard from Hal, or they've heard from Stephanie, or they've heard from Mary.
Absolutely.
And they pass it on to other chats. It's not just being in one single chat. They're sticking with that message that one person's saying. They're passing it along.
That's what we need to be doing. So there is a lot of crossover, like you just said. you see a lot of the same people in all these other content providers, all these different, all the other chats.
Yeah.
And it
Well,
helps.
And they're on Twitter and they're on Blue Sky too, passing those messages on.
Yeah.
It helps to reinforce these messages.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And it is, and Anita and I, the whole reason we started the podcast, and I think the importance, that we've always felt with the, with Stephanie Miller and Hale and, Mary Trump and,
Texas
all
Paul
of
and
the
Brian,
Texas
Boston
Paul and
Brian.
everything,
Yeah.
is the fact that the conversations start with us, right? And so if we have, so we get some talking points, because not everybody feels like really comfortable just kind of, mixing it up in social situations or, in family situations, and or, when you're confronted with a, right winger, and they're just kind of, and this is kind of how I started listening to Stephanie, was because I was getting into it, having clashes with this right leaning friend of mine. And we would get into these, and a lot of times we would have very productive conversations and debates about things, and it never went to like that level. But it started to more and more, and this was when Obama was in. And so I was like literally shaking. I left coffee shaking. I was so angry. And when I would get that angry, I would start crying. And then I would be like, so my emotions completely got the best of me. And I was like, I have to go and I have to listen to conversations and get talking points, kind of like when Tom Hartman talks about the water cooler wars, right?
Yeah.
Those types of things.
Yeah,
I
exactly.
have to like fortify myself.
Although don't listen
because
to Tom
I
Hartman.
don't let my emotions get the best of me, so I can have valid points and get them across without losing my temper or getting emotional about it. So then when we have those talking points, then we can have conversations with people. So it's really so important.
Well, Randy Rhodes, she talks about how knowledge is power.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, Karen,
Well, go ahead,
I
Mark.
was going to say, these days it's very difficult not to get overly emotional with
Right.
what
That
we're
is
seeing
so
happening.
true. Yeah.
My neighbor across the street, he is a Trumper, and he came over a couple of weeks ago, very upset. He had gotten something from the city about his lawn or whatever, and he asked if he could borrow my mower. And I said, sure. I said, we'll come over and we'll do it for you. His mom's going through cancer right now and a bunch of other things. I said, we'll come over and do it. And a couple of days later, he knocked on my door again. And I said, hello, how are you doing? And he goes, I see you out here every morning with your fuck Trump mug. Thank you, Texas Paul.
I need to get one of those. Yeah.
And he said to me, he says, I hear you listening to your shows. Tell me what is the difference? And I sat there, gave him my other earbud, and let him listen to Stephanie Miller.
Oh, yeah? Wow.
How did that go?
Yeah.
And he listened to it. He had questions. And not only that, asked me when she was going to be on the next time.
Really?
Wow.
So
Well,
I
that's a success story.
planted a seed. It may not go anywhere. It may grow. But I planted that seed. And there's people out there that say, oh, you shouldn't be any part of the Democrat or the Republicans and this and that and the other thing. You can't do that. If you want to make a change, you have to be the one to make the change. You can't assume that somebody's going to make that change for themselves. Mm-hmm. If they don't hear it, they're not going to know. Whether they use it or not, that's on them.
Okay.
But at least you put it out there.
But the majority, I mean, that's an anecdotal, evidence of one person, okay? But for the most part, these people, because I know them too, okay? I live in Texas.
Big dead red Texas. Right?
Yes, and they listen to what they listen to whatever what they call it, confirmation bias.
Yep.
So they watch Fox. They know they're being lied to. They don't care. They want to be lied to. They listened to Rush Limbaugh when Rush Limbaugh was around because they wanted to hear those things because it's how they feel, and that legitimizes it. when they hear it on the radio or they hear it on Fox News. And now they've got all these other podcasters and streamers and creators that are telling them, hey, you're right. You're the victim. You're a loser. The reason why you've lost and you're a loser is because of those people. Those people are to blame.
Yeah.
But Anita, what bothers me is like those on the right. It seems that they take joy and glee in seeing others suppressed, seeing others suffer.
Oh, they do.
Where's the humanity? Where's the empathy?
They don't have that.
Because they don't have that, because Trump doesn't have that.
Well, yeah.
Well, they never have had it. It's
well,
not Trump.
it's kind of a chicken and egg, I feel like, because it's like, obviously he's saying something that you were already conditioned. Like your baseline was that kind of that. And so then when he says it, it's like, yeah, I felt that way too. And now this guy is just validating that for me. And I think that, but Andrea, I think of when I hear you talking about your neighbor and then also this 96-year-old lady, the brainwashing of my father too, and how that happens too. And so I just wonder, if a lot of it is the information that they're having dumped into their laps, if they're in a red area, because you hear about these deserts, these Fox News, where that's all they get is Fox News,
it triggers something in them, though.
Well,
sure. I mean, I think that it's true that they already have to have that, that bias in place, and then it builds from there. But I mean, I give you a lot of credit, Andrea, that you can have those conversations. A lot
of it is too. I pointed out to my 96, 97-year-old lady that she, because I take care of her. I'm in her house. She's got Fox News on. And I said to her, read what the bottom of that says on Fox News. At the end of the Fox News show, this was way back when Tucker was on. Read what it says. Fox Entertainment. She read it. I said, what does that mean? I said,
news.
It's entertainment. It's not news. They're giving you a line of entertainment, but they're not giving you a line of news. I think that's what got her starting to think, because after that, we started having more conversations. And I'm not abashed about talking about the fact that I'm a Democrat. I'm very vocal about it. But that's what started that conversation. It kind of got those wheels in her head kind of thinking. It may not totally have turned, because her and I have good conversations and we have good arguments too. I mean, she can give her argument as strong as I can give my argument. But at the end of the day, we end up always saying, let's agree to disagree. But then we pick it right back up. And the more you have those conversations, the more you have those thoughts and you're giving them out, the more you're going to maybe not totally change everybody's mind, but you're going to plant that in them. Like I said, the gentleman across the street, I was floored he wanted to listen to Stephanie Miller.
I was still floored. Listening today?
Yes. Yep.
But I wrote it down for him. But you can have those conversations. I see it all the time. I've listened to like Adam Mockler will do these interviews with people, and he'll get them. Oh yeah. It'll get them to agree with him, like about Ukraine or about Social Security or about all these other things, and then they turn around and they're still going to vote for Donald Trump.
Yep.
But that's where our messaging, I get a lot and stuff, especially in Stephanie's chat, not so much Hal's, but in Stephanie's chat, a lot of people get angry with Chris over some of the things that Chris says.
Yes.
Okay.
I wonder why.
And a lot of them get upset with some of the things that Jody says, or if a guest comes on. Okay. But at the end of the day, I remind them, we all have our opinions. We may not always agree, I said, but you got to listen to the different points of view to get the whole picture. And that's the same thing with Republicans. They're only getting half of they're only getting half of the bullshit. Okay, they're only getting half of the crap. They're not even giving a chance to look at the other side unless you get those few like I did that are willing to listen to the other side.
But you cannot argue with people. You cannot say, okay, you have to listen to both sides. When one side, you just said it, they have no humanity. Okay,
but that's where you show by your action. You show by your like I said, I'm unabashed about being a Democrat. I speak it all the time. I have no problem doing that. I have no problem saying I don't agree with you.
Time and time again by our actions. We have shown these people time and time again. We're constantly the ones that bail them out. We're the ones they have reason they have Social Security. We're the reasons we have stopped the Republicans time and time again from gutting Medicare, Medicaid, Social Security, SNAP benefits. And yet these people will continue to vote Republican. It's like that thing, Karen, you talk about all the time, where they put Roe v. Wade on the not Roe v. Wade, but
overturning
rights, on the ballot. And go ahead, tell them about.
Well, yeah. So this last election, where they had the ballot initiatives, where they put the reinstating Roe in their state on the ballot. So then a lot of white Southern women were able to vote for that and also vote for Trump. So it kind of gave them that cover, and it's more okey doke. It's like, it's kind of like a shell game. It's like, oh, see here, you can do this, but then you can still be a racist asshole and vote for the racist asshole.
And that's part of what a democracy, unfortunately, not unfortunately, because we are a democracy and I'm very proud to be in a Democratic party and a very Democratic America.
Pro-democracy party.
Right.
That's fine when it's on a ballot.
What the problem is back in the day, and we all know this, even our parents know this, even our grandparents know this, we never spoke about being a Democrat or Republican. We never spoke about what party we were in. We voted. We just voted. Whether we agreed with what our beliefs were compared to talking to our family about what their beliefs were, we voted and nobody knew about what we were voting for. It was
my parents definitely knew.
Yeah.
I don't know about.
We were Democrats. We were both raised Democratic.
My mother, if I told her, we'd come home and say, "Oh, I voted Republican," I think she'd throw me out of the house.
But what I'm saying is, it wasn't like where everybody knew that you were a Democrat. Everybody knew that you, within your own family, you knew who was what. But overall, it just wasn't talked about.
Well,
it was just not mentioned.
Right. And I don't think that did us any favors. I mean, I've always felt like, when you look at foreign films, and I've talked to Anita about this, when you look at foreign films, there's always conversations, political conversations at the dinner table, they're at dinner parties and things like that. And I feel like we have done in this country such a disservice. And I think it's by design, by not talking about these things, by not talking about, being compassionate. And, that we vote our conscience, we vote our values at the ballot box. And, the values of being inclusive, of, looking out for our neighbor, and, I think that's my biggest problem with Republican voting friends and family, is that you run around and you go to church on Sunday, and the same thing, like you look at this current panel of blonde bubbleheads with their big crosses around their neck, and I think there's this great meme. It's like, when you see this, you're about to hear the most anti-Jesus shit that's out there.
They don't want to talk about Jesus.
Yeah, so I mean, for me, at this point in time, and I've, definitely was groomed and indoctrinated as a Democrat,
Me too.
but it's also been because I want people to have equal chances, equal opportunity, because I do believe that we have to take care of, the least of us, and all of the things, the values that I was raised with. And it's like, okay, yeah. And I think that I look at the two parties, and one of those parties actually is putting their money where their mouth is. And so it's really difficult then to have those conversations without bringing that into it, with these people. So when you
Right.
vote for Donald Trump, and I have a situation, and I'm not going to name names or anything, but I have a personal relationship with somebody whose significant other ended up divulging after the fact that they voted for Trump this last time. Not because they like Trump, but because Trump was going to, fuck some shit up. And for me, this person sat in on private conversations, family conversations, knew how I felt, knew my child, and yet still chose to vote to hurt me and mine.
Yep. And also,
And so for me,
but okay, go
I
ahead.
don't have the bandwidth right now.
I
No.
would consider, I
To-
would consider
to-
that person a friend.
No,
No,
me
but
I
it
don't
also,
have
but you talk about it being democracy, like what you were
Mhm.
talking about with this thing about reproductive rights. Yeah, that's true. But guess what? The Republicans don't respect democracy. They don't. They're anti-democratic. When they lose elections, they refuse to accept it.
right.
They throw shit fits.
They
Yeah.
throw
they
temper
storm the
tantrums.
fucking Capitol.
They storm the Capitol. They
Right.
try to cheat. They try to suppress the vote. They don't
Right.
believe in democracy.
Yeah. Yeah, I think honestly, the people that voted in this last election, that voted for Donald Trump, and even, some of the never Trumpers that, want to come in now and say that, like, oh, we have to be the big, expand our tent to include them and let them have, say in our policies, et cetera, et cetera. I think it's I'm more interested in talking to the people that didn't pay attention, that didn't vote, that didn't care enough. Those are the
almost
people,
a third of
right?
it, right, Karen?
Yeah.
I think a lot of it with us modding and being in the chats, we not only get to listen to those Mary Trump and Boston Brian and Hal, we get the double honor of looking at our chats and seeing what they're writing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you
And
get a feel, get a pulse.
Mm-hmm.
right. And not
how
all
people
of
are
it
feeling.
is, and not all of it is happy.
No,
Not all of it.
not these days. Yeah.
We have had a couple of people in our chat that have been so distraught they want to end it.
Hurt themselves.
And when you see that in the chat, you as a mod, one, you see it, there's not much you can do about it other than I let Hal know. It's hard to do that in real time.
Mm.
To reach it, like I have an email that anybody can get a hold of me during Hal. This is a Hal Sparkler's email. They can get a hold of me at any time if they've got something going on. Because Hal can't see that always in the chat.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure with the thousands that Mary has in hers, she can't see it. The suffragettes, they do a pretty good job. Texas Paul does a pretty good job, but he doesn't always see everything. It is something that us mods get to see, that it's sometimes heartbreaking that you can't be there for those people. You can't be there to say, other than saying, no, don't, in a chat. And now that they, the Orange Ass Hat has ended the suicide hotline, it's hard to even give them a resource
Right.
Yeah.
to go to.
We're not
Yeah.
really in a
And
position to really give them the assistance that they
to give
need.
them the assistance that they need, even though we know and we're a community and we see it.
Yeah.
That is
You
so
know, that's-
heartbreaking that he did that. I mean, think about that. What is the point of that? How much money did they save?
It's evil. It's evil. It has
It's just
nothing to
evil.
do
That's
with
why I
saving
said that.
money.
Yeah.
None of this shit has anything to do with saving money. None of the
No,
There were
dough.
no
of course not.
findings.
It's cruelty. It's just to be cruel
Right.
to, like, punish the people that they don't like.
Punish everybody, and
Right.
that's the thing. That's the kicker. They're punishing the people that voted for them too.
Right.
Well, of
And
course.
not only that, if the senators and the representatives went on and did their own show, did their own chat, they would see this.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And that's what I feel we need to work towards, even if it's for an hour. Jasmine Crockett goes on for maybe 45 minutes a day.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Just to interact with people.
Yep.
I'm
I
not
don't
sure
think
what
it would-
AOC does, but I know Jasmine Crockett will go on at the end of her day. She'll go
Mhm.
on for at least 45 minutes and interact with people.
But Andrea, Republicans, look at this big, ugly bill, okay? It has like a 20% approval rating. 90% of Americans want gun control, some sort of gun reform. They don't give a shit what the American people want. They don't believe in democracy. So no amount of communicating with the people that you're talking about, their constituents, and you talk about, when I said they want to punish the people they don't like the people that vote for them. They lie to them. They have no respect for them. As a matter of fact, they hate them more than anybody.
But you're missing the point. The point is, if we can get, because we voted you in, okay, I'm talking about a Democrat side. We voted you in, and you see in your chat that you're going to have, okay, hypothetically, you're going to have, and you see what your constituents are saying. Writing a letter is good. Calling is good, okay?
Mhm.
But actually seeing it from the people that you represent.
Oh,
Yes.
Democrats, yes.
Yeah, we're talking Democrats.
Right.
Yeah, I think you
Democrats,
guys are
definitely.
talking about two.
I was talking about Republicans. They don't give a crap about
Democrats see this and see what's being said or felt, or I don't like you on this bill because you're not doing what I think you should be doing.
Yeah.
Mhm.
That gives them a better idea, which is one up on the Republican Party, because we're interacting with our constituents.
Yes.
And I think
we
maybe
have a
that's
better
what-
view. We have a better view coming midterms, knowing what our base wants.
Right.
And
I
that's
think
what's happening with the older generation of Democrats. They're not as, tech savvy. Okay.
Right.
So they have that issue. Except for Bernie Sanders. Bernie Sanders is still pretty good at it.
Mhm.
But, and I have my issues with Bernie, but he's good at that. And,
Yeah.
so
Well, and I think too, though, I think that I think it's all of the above. And I think that what was exciting me, and I haven't really been hearing as much about this or seeing as much and as many videos about these town halls where Democrats were going into the red districts and holding town halls with the Republican voting constituents. I mean, I think that they have got to keep that up too. And I think, because I've heard like my brother, his I think it was a representative in Wisconsin, and he went on to the town hall, and it's a Republican, and it was all very, and Anita, you had the same experience. I think was it with Chip Roy, where you couldn't even, like, they were controlling the questions.
But no, there was some that got through. The constituents that were actually complaining about some of that big beautiful bill thing. They were very. It's not popular, but go ahead.
Right. Yeah. No, but so where the Republicans go in and either, they're not going to hold in-person town halls. So then they, hide behind the technology and then, very much like control the questions and manipulate, and can, gaslight as much as they want. So, that's them. they can go ahead and do that. But I do think that it's like all of the above. Democrats have to be going to the places where these people are,
Yeah.
and also going on Substack, and also dropping in, having staffers drop in and listen in on these chats.
Right.
Right.
And Hal will say that there are people that come in to Hal's chat that I know are from the other side that come in that are pretty people that are well known that come into that chat. They see what's being said. They see what other people are saying.
Yeah.
And oftentimes
You know,
steal.
That's what's
we'll steal
important.
from
We know
Hal.
what they're saying though too. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like with the whole eating the dogs, eating the cat things like that, where I knew because I do monitor some of these right-wing sites and I see it on Twitter. And it's important to know what they're saying. I think it's because if we don't understand some of this kind of conspiracy crap that they're talking about, then we just let it go. We just ignore it, and then it just sits out there.
And then we miss the opportunity to alert their family members that they're batshit crazy.
That's true.
And so on that note,
that's a good point, Karen.
Because we are, kind of, we're going long on this. We will have some edits, but I just want to say thank you to you guys for coming on here and
great
letting
conversation.
And really just,
thank you.
Validating what we've been saying all along is that the community and conversations is where it's at, and that is how we're going to get ourselves out of this mess.
100%.
Right. And being that community.
Yes.
Absolutely.
So thank you for everything that you guys do. We are big fan of both of you, and so
Mark.
appreciate
Thank you, Karen. Thank you, Anita.
everything. So thanks for coming on, and let's do this again.
Absolutely.
And
Yes, for sure. Thank you.
Yeah, we'll play some of those clips next time, right?
Yeah, we didn't even get a chance to play
we didn't even get to the floods, but that's okay because
that means
great.
the conversation was good. So that's all right.
That's right. We didn't need it. So anyway, but thanks so much, and we will see you online.
Yep.
Yes.
Good.
Thank you again.
Everybody.
All right. Love you guys.
Okay. Bye.
Love you too.
Bye-bye.
Have a good night.